Hello and good evening to you. Welcome to News 360 and it's live news up here at Adesawe in Kanda. My name is Alfred Okanse.
And I'm Natalie Fort. A look at the top stories this evening.
News 360 headlines is brought to you by Deluxe Paint, Heaven Black Mosquito Coil and Spray,
Premier Health Insurance.
Schedule for referenda on creation of new regions out in a fortnight.
Vice President directs Ministry of Agriculture to initiate ban on poultry products.
Also ahead this evening, TUC cautions Bank of Ghana against worker layoffs in Consolidated Bank Ghana Limited.
And Zimbabwean opposition leader urges people to reject President Mnangagwa's election victory.
Stay with us here on News 360. We've got the details of these stories and much more news. As always, the bulletin is streaming live all across the world on 3news.com and TV3 Ghana on Facebook.
We're also live on DSTV channel 279. Now to our first story this evening, a timetable on the referenda for the creation of new regions will be released in the next 1 or 2 weeks. This was revealed by the Deputy Commissioner of the Electoral Commission, Dr. Bosman Eric Asari, in his first public interview after being sworn into office. He is, however, not sure it can happen in September as expected.
In terms of initial observations, I would say there's a lot of work that must be done, and I believed your viewers and your listeners heard the president when he laid out some of the activities that must be done. I know there's supposed to be a referenda in some regions, not in all the parts of the country. That one is there, and apart from that, there was a High Court decision that the Electoral Commission must come up with a roadmap for the implementation of ROPA. So looking at it from that perspective, this year a lot of things are supposed to take place, and I believe that the members of the commission as well as the staff of the commission, they are enthusiastic about doing something which will project the image of our country.
So talking about the conducting a referenda towards the creation of new regions and the district assembly election, that will be probably next year. But I think the immediate one would be the creation of new regions. A lot of time has already been spent, and the minister in charge of regional reorganization was talking about likely having these regions created by September this year. How are you people going to race against time to be on schedule?
Let me say that 4 new commissioners have just joined the block, and we are looking at these issues. I know within maybe the next 1 or 2 weeks, we should be able to come up with a timetable. But one thing which is very certain is that I'm very optimistic that by the end of the year, this will be done. Because when you look at the arrangement, the requirement of the law, etc., we need to ensure that it is done within this particular year. We have till December, almost 4 or 5 months for the year to end. So I think we have enough time to be able to put our houses in order, to be able to put the necessary structures in place. And once the state is highly supportive of it, I don't see why we will not be able to deliver. Maybe we may not be able to meet the deadline of September, but what is very certain is that it will be done.
Meanwhile, Dr. Bosman Asari has admitted that there is much work to be done in rebuilding public trust and confidence in the Electoral Commission. He, however, assured Ghanaians that his team is poised to do all it takes to restore the image of the Commission.
The AC has been involved in so many controversies in recent time. The image, I can't say that has not been the best as far as public confidence is concerned. What are you and your team going to do as a matter of urgency in trying to rebuild public confidence in this institution?
We know the EC has gone through a lot of problems. Some of them generally, it has not been very, very good. But I think that we are well poised. We understand the challenges ahead. We appreciate the opportunities that have been given to us. And I know moving forward, we are going to ensure that the EC continues to be the brand that is highly attractive, that becomes a center of lesson drawing for other state institutions to look up to.
Most people have a lot of confidence in you people because of the objectivity you have demonstrated in your private work. What do you see as a possible challenge in the discharge of your duty to the best of your abilities?
No, I'm not anticipating any serious challenge. I think as a commission, what we are committed to doing is that to run a system that is very fair, that is transparent, that will ensure that the voters are those who are going to decide. Elections is not about theory. Elections is more about practice. We are going to do it in such a way that what the people will choose will be at the end of the day, or the individuals they will select will become those who will be leading our country at the district level, at the parliamentary level in that manner. So I think that the team, the commission is highly committed to ensuring that we do that, and with that I know we are going to do a lot of work for our country.
Now, the Vice President has directed the Minister of Agriculture, Dr. Afriyie Akoto, to urgently initiate a ban on the importation of chicken. Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia is confident the ban will boost local production of chicken and provide employment for the teeming youth. He gave the directive at the official launch of this year's National Farmers' Day celebrations in Accra.
The Vice President was reacting to comments by the Sector Minister of Agriculture for reducing the importation of maize. The Sector Minister, Dr. Afriyie Akoto, was elated that the Planting for Food and Jobs program had reduced the importation of maize. Under the policy alone through maize production, more than 200,000 farmers have been engaged to produce maize and other cereals. He again said the ministry has issued licenses for some private organizations to also engage in local production of maize.
This time, not a grain of maize was imported into this country since maybe 10 years or 15 years now, because the local supplies were so good, the local prices were far below the world price, that we issued import licenses to 7 organizations to import maize. But because the world prices were higher than ours, it was a no-show.
The Vice President, who was pleased with the work of the minister, challenged him to ban the importation of chicken.
That yes, you have announced very nicely that we've stopped importing maize this year. So very soon, in the next couple of years, I want you to announce that we've also stopped importing chicken. That is the challenge that I want to give you in the next couple of years.
In another development, the Minister of Agriculture is to set up a machinery to manufacture handheld farm implements. The Minister of Agriculture said the equipment will increase crop production to satisfy both the international and local markets. He applauded the Vice President for spearheading the lifting of the ban on the export of vegetables to European markets.
We are going to increase the export of vegetables and fruits and vegetables exports to match even cocoa production. Cocoa, the revenues that we will get ultimately from that. We've set up 3 villages, what I call greenhouse villages, in this initial period, and we are working closely with an Israeli firm to ensure that the nucleus will turn out to be something very big.
Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia pledged to fashion out policies to improve agriculture, which currently employs 46% of Ghanaians. He stressed on the construction of 570 dams under the One Village, One Dam policy to boost agriculture.
Equally important interventions are being rolled out in the irrigation subsector in the pursuit of the One Village, One Dam program. Under this One Village, One Dam program, which is going to be, or which is being implemented in the 3 northern regions, we expect about 570 dams to be constructed by next year.
This year's National Farmers' Day, due to be held in the northern region, is on the theme Agriculture Moving Ghana Beyond Aid.
Now, President Akufo-Addo has charged media practitioners not to sacrifice the future and integrity of the nation in their quest to grab the juicy headlines that break the news. Speaking at the 12th congregation of the Ghana Institute of Journalism, the president urged media owners to invest in their staff to improve standards.
The 12th congregation ceremony, which was held at the new site of the Institute at Okpongolo, highlighted recent infrastructural challenges to the Institute. The new Okpongolo site, which was donated by government in the 1970s, only had the construction of this uncompleted building in 2012 and has not seen any additions since. Acting Rector of the Institute, Dr. Modestus Fosu, called for government support to complete the
incomplete society with a view to ensuring that they do not sacrifice integrity and the future of our society for today's headline or breaking news. The time has come for us to harness the full potential of the media, keep it up to pace with technological changes so it helps educate and stimulate the populace and contribute to the sustainable development of our country.
He pledged government support for the Institute in improving infrastructure to promote effective teaching and learning.
An initial modest amount of some 5 million cedis has been allocated to GIG in the 2018 budget. And the least I can do is to make sure that GET-FUND releases this money to you as soon as possible to help complete the first of many lecture hall complexes and offices here.
In all, 780 graduates of Bachelor of Arts degree in Communication Studies, Journalism and Public Relations options received degrees, diplomas and certificates.
Let's still stay with this a little further because the lecturer, the senior lecturer at the Ghana Institute of Journalism, Kobinano Bedu-Addo, has debunked claims of anomalies of the 2018 graduating list. He explained the institute was diligent in the compilation of the list of students who had satisfied requirements to graduate.
Checks indicate that over 300 final year students of the Ghana Institute of Journalism expected to graduate at the 12th congregation did not have their names on the graduating list.
What came on the board was different from what appeared on their online portal, so that erupted a mistake for them. But I was thinking that they should have postponed or maybe given enough time for students to rectify the situation.
Knowing the school, I have paid my fees and I even got the upper class, but they are refusing to let me graduate because they said my name is not part of the list.
Speaking on the sidelines of the congregation, a senior lecturer, Kobinano Bedu-Addo, insisted students who did not graduate had outstanding issues and failed to meet the requirements for the congregation.
You have to satisfy certain requirements, and if you don't satisfy those requirements, there's no way you are going to graduate. And from last week, we sat through the results, going through the students one by one. If you can imagine the number of students we've graduated today, having to go through their results one by one from the first semester of a 4-year program. It's not an easy work, but we've managed to do that, and the vast majority of them have, graduated.
He entreated the affected students to use the right channel to address their grievances.
Now, in some other news this evening, Nigerian spare parts dealers at Swami Magazine in Kumasi are demanding security protection to enable them carry out their trading activities. The traders allege some of their members are being assaulted by members of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, that's GUTA, who want them out of business. But the Garages Association of Ghana has condemned the attack.
Chairman of the Nigerian Union Traders Association of Ghana, NUTAG, Chief Obiora Kizito, says about 10 members have been assaulted in the past 2 days. He describes the alleged assaults as unfortunate.
Some have gone to the hospital and even bring police report, which I will show to the media.
The Nigerians have closed shop at Swami Magazine. Chief Obiora says the shops will reopen only when they are assured of maximum security.
Because we need police protection, we really want the security authority to give us protection before we go back to our business. Because if we go back alone, they will continue doing that. Really, some of our people have been injured. Who knows the next line of action? Because we don't want to listen to them. This time around, the next thing they will do is that they will kill people before we will listen to them. So we don't want any of our people to die. So we believe the best thing to do is to come to the security agency to protect us.
The Ghanaian traders have accused the Nigerians of price undercutting to attract customers, but the Ghana National Association of Garages has condemned the violent attacks on the Nigerian spare part dealers. Leaders of the Garages Association say they support the enforcement of the law barring foreigners from retail business, but want enforcement to be devoid of violent attacks.
There are more Ghanaians too doing business in Nigeria, some of them retailing. So if we do that, we don't deal with these Nigerians with care, we are going to bring a serious problem to the Ghanaians in Nigeria. So we do not agree with the spare parts dealers who have taken the law into their own hands, attacking the Nigerian people in Magazie here.
The garages say they will resist any attempt by the indigenous spare part dealers to take the law in their hands in the name of enforcement to assault Nigerians.
Nigerian traders have been meeting the police in the Ashanti region, but the Ghana National Association of Garages at Suame Magazine has condemned fiscal assault on Nigerian traders. Some spare parts dealers at Suame are alleged to have assaulted their Nigerian counterparts in a renewed drive by Guta to kick out foreign traders. Ashanti Regional Chairman of the Association, Nanose Bonsu, has been speaking to our correspondent Ibrahim Abubakar.
Yeah, thank you very much. Nigerians came to Magazie here through the spare parts dealers. They brought the Nigerians here. They are doing business with the Nigerians. And now they hide stores to the Nigerians. So they rented the stores to the Nigerians to retail. So government has now passed a law that foreigners should not do retailing. Yes, we accept the law and we are in support of it. But for the Nigerians doing business in Magazie here, for the spare parts dealers to attack them, that is lawlessness. We will never accept that, because it is the government who passed the law and it is the government who has to enforce the law, not any individual or group of people. Here is an industrial site vested in the name of Ghana National Association of Garages. So anybody here is under the garages. So nobody can do whatever he wants on the land of the association. We will never agree to that, and we will never accept that. As I was saying three days ago, I witnessed these spare parts dealers attacking a mechanic for doing business with the Nigerians. We will never sit down for that to continue.
You made reference to some Ghanaians also doing retail business in Nigeria.
Yes, it is true. There are Ghanaians doing retailing in Nigeria and other businesses. Some are mechanics, some are storekeepers, so many businesses. So if we go that way, if we don't treat this problem diligently, we are going to have problem. We are going to create problem for our people in Nigeria.
What do you intend to do, since the spare parts dealers, like you said, have even started attacking mechanics and artisans?
As for that, we will first give them, we will first advise them that they should stop it, because they also attacked a mechanic, which we do not accept. If they continue to do that, we also express our dissatisfaction to them.
And by expressing your dissatisfaction, what exactly do you mean?
If you are holding a machete, beating up a mechanic, what do you think the mechanics should also do? We also defend ourselves, and we are more than them. If they want to attack us, because they think that we the mechanics are doing business with the Nigerians, and for that reason they are trying to attack some of the mechanics who do business with the Nigerians, which is not acceptable, you see. So they have to stop it. For the police or the military to come and enforce the law, they are not the law, so they can't take the law into their own hands.
That was the Ashanti Regional Chairman of Ghana National Association of Garages, Nana Osei Bonsu. Well, they are saying that they are in support with the government law of banning foreigners from doing retail business, but then they will also resist any attempt by the spare parts dealers here at Swami Magazine to take the law into their hands and assault the Nigerian counterparts. Ibrahim Abubakar, TV3 News, Swami.
Now we'll bring you more on that development in subsequent bulletins. But in some other news, customers of Allied Savings and Loans in Takoradi were turned away on Friday as they were told to work will resume on Monday. Now this bank is having problems with liquidity relating to panic withdrawal by customers since the recent ANAS expose. Our Western Regional correspondent Irama Smith was there and came through with the following report.
10 a.m. on Friday morning, and I'm at the First Allied Savings and Loans, the Takoradi branch. The banking hall is virtually empty. As you may have heard, they are having challenges with liquidity. They tell me that there's been panic withdrawal after the ANAS expose, whereby Fountain Savings and Loans Limited was cited as the recipient of money laundering from the then GFA President Kwesi Nyantakyi. I've spoken to the deputy branch manager who doesn't want to talk to camera, but he tells me that after that expose in early July, there was panic withdrawal, and even though they are used to serving about between 80 to 100 people within a day, they started serving about 500 people and more, all withdrawing money, and this has really affected liquidity. Since last week, Namiti there.
I heard the rumor last week. My customer wanted to pay money, but was told there is no money. I then came to ask what will happen if I also want to withdraw.
So right now what is happening is that when people come to withdraw money, then they explain to them that this is their challenge. So if you, for instance, you want to withdraw maybe 10,000, then they will encourage you to take maybe 3,000, and subsequently on later days you come back and then they give you a little. So this is the challenge here. Today I've spoken to a customer, as you heard, and she has been told that they will start working from Monday. Meanwhile, what the bank is doing is public education to get people to understand that First Allied Loans and Savings is not the same as the Fountain Savings and Loans Limited cited in the ANAS expose. Reporting for TV3 News, Irama Smith, Takoradi.
Now, on MTN Video Report, our citizen journalist Richard Keys highlights the uncompleted school building at Mflakpo in the Volta region.
Mflakpo DA Primary. It's a school in a village called Esokope, a suburb of Togome. This structure, as you can see, was built by teachers themselves to house two classes, that is class 1 and 2. There were only 3 classroom blocks built by the government to house 8 different classes. The primary 3 class is learning under 3 because the only classroom left to house them is being used for the KG 1 and 2 pupils. This is a new 6-unit classroom block. Has been under construction since 2013. Richard Keys reporting, Mflakpo.
We encourage you to also send your MTN video reports to us and put it out there. But some news just coming through. Cabinet has decided to postpone the 1-month ban on all fishing activities in Ghana, which was expected to start August 7, 2018 to next year. Now, the Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture Development, Elizabeth Na Afole-Koy, is said to have made this known Friday evening at a meeting with stakeholders in the fisheries industry in Accra. The minister said the ban, which would have come into force from August 7 to September 4, 2018, will now be implemented in 2019. The minister is said to have urged operators in the sector to prepare and be ready to comply in August 2019. According to the ministry, government decided to postpone the ban following the concerns the players in the industry raised. The closed season was meant to also all fleets comprising canoes, inshore boats and trawlers. However, vessels involved in the harvesting of tuna were exempted from the ban because they conduct their business at deep seas and they were not near areas reserved for other fleets. So this is the news is coming through. This much publicized ban of the closed season for fishing will not take place. It's been postponed. There's going to be a lot more in our subsequent bulletins on this news just coming through there. Means that the fisher folk concerns have prevailed. There's more on 3news.com. You can go onto the website and get some more details.
You're watching News 360, coming to you live from our studios here at Adisa Way, Kanda. All across the world, you're watching us on 3news.com. We've got all the latest of news from the world of business shortly. Stay with us.
And it's time for business. Very good evening to you. Thanks for staying with us on News 360. My name is Nanekia Mensah Prampa. Now, the cost of cleansing the mess created by the collapse of 5 banks is going to cost the taxpayer 5.67 billion cedis. The Ghanaian taxpayer is already saddled with 2.2 billion cedis government issued to settle the liabilities of UT and Capital banks. Now, TVC Business takes a look at the development and how it can be prevented in future situations.
The governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, indicated that the central bank has approved a purchase and assumption agreement between Consolidated Bank and the receiver for the 5 collapsed banks. Under the agreement, Consolidated Bank has acquired all deposits and other specified liabilities and good assets of the 5 banks. And to finance the gap between the liabilities and good assets assumed by Consolidated Bank, government has issued a bond of up to 5.7 billion cedis. Thus, the cost of cleansing the financial sector is going to be borne by the Ghanaian taxpayer. This, financial analyst Joe Jackson is not happy about.
In the case of Unibank, lending to shareholders, directors, and related parties was in excess of 5 billion cedis. You say, wow, 5 billion is money belonging to the state. So this is costing us. The government has put in money. The central bank has put in liquidity support, cash. So for these institutions, what, the central bank is out of pocket in the region of 5-point-something billion? That's a huge sum of money. This is a major issue. And I think 2 years is too short for that exit strategy. But still, we need that exit strategy.
It is not immediately known at what coupon rate and tenure government issued the latest 5.7 billion cedis bond, but any rate in the region of 12%, as was in the case for the UT and Capital banks, it will still worsen the taxpayer's burden.
The capital setting it up 450. If you ask, it's 6 billion, which is about 3% of the GDP. Just for the sheer incompetences and regulatory failure and regulatory infractions, and the failure on the related lendings and connected lending, the state had to get taxpayers' money to go and build such. That is what I'm saying, that governor has made recommendation that some are criminality. If people are found culpable, irrespective of whether the previous regulators or previous shareholders, they must face the full rigors of the law.
Meanwhile, the central bank says the cost of the 7 banks' collapse will not be added to the country's total public debt under a special arrangement made with the International Monetary Fund.
Right, so let's move away, and Accra Brewery Limited has rewarded the 8th and 9th winners of the Charlie Wonshijama promo in Accra. Lawrence Mingles and Ebenezer Ama, both from Accra, received 20,000 cedis cash each.
The Charlie Wonshijama promo promises to reward one lucky consumer with 20,000 cedis each from the 28th of May until the 12th of August 2018. Lawrence Mingles and Ebenezer Ama, both from Accra, were lucky winners of the 8th and 9th week. The promo during the World Cup gave Charlies the chance to come together and cheer their favorite teams. Presenting the rewards, ABL's country director Philip Redman said Club Beer is immensely proud to be associated with the 2018 FIFA World Cup, Russia.
Yeah, exactly. I think we had a lot of fun over the World Cup. There were some surprises, clearly. I watched a couple of great games, I thought. So yeah, let's keep that spirit going. We had some fun, so let's keep having the fun. Yeah, we did 2 more winners today, and then we've got 3 more to go. And we've got lots of people winning out there as well, texting in every day, winning different amounts of airtime. Lots of free beers being collected. So keep opening up those club bottles and you'll still find some prizes under there.
Lawrence Mingles, a poultry farmer, shared his feeling when he was informed he had won the week.
I just tried my luck, and then I was there one day last Friday, and then I had a call. Oh, I'm calling for a club brewery, and then you are the lucky winner for the week. And I said, wow. And I went to my Parliament Pop House, opposite adjacent Gethsemane Methodist Church. That's where my Speaker of Parliament, Mr. Daniel Lamte, aka Yes Uncle. So Uncle, Charlie, I've won. Pour the beer on me. Come pour beer on me. Come pour beer on me. The club beer on me.
Ebenezer had a similar story.
I'm even still surprised. I had a paper somewhere and I was preparing for the paper. So I was just surprised and had to shout to distract the rest of the students also learning.
Other instant prizes include 50,000 bottles of beer and airtime.
Well, I hope they don't get drowned in that beer. But let's go back to the banking sector, chronicling events of how it all started for one of the banks which are part of Consolidated Bank. I'm talking about Unibank, and key findings from KPMG's report indicated serious corporate governance and management's flaws, as well as unlawful transactions involving shareholders. Now, in the Business Desk report, we take a look at the effects of poor corporate governance within the banking sector. It will be recalled on March 20, 2018, the Bank of Ghana appointed KPMG as official administrator for Unibank to help ascertain the true financial condition of the bank. KPMG, late in April, submitted a 30-day report of assets and liabilities of Unibank and a 90-day report on the financial conditions and future prospects of the bank. The reports confirmed the insolvent nature of Unibank. Its operations were not sustainable.
We had already flagged Unibank as a problem bank, and we got an independent party, this is KPMG, to go in there and see whether what we suspect might be true. And the first report that we got from KPMG was the fact that Unibank was misreporting data to us. The official administrator appointed for Unibank has found that the bank is beyond rehabilitation.
Out of the total customer deposits of 4.3 billion Ghana cedis, 2.4 billion Ghana cedis was not disclosed. The bank again had a capital deficit of 7.4 billion Ghana cedis compared to the regulatory minimum of 400 million cedis and a capital adequacy ratio of negative 74.65%.
Related and connected parties had taken amounts totaling 3.7 billion cedis, which were neither granted through the normal credit delivery process nor reported as part of the bank's loan portfolio. Amounts totaling 1.6 billion had been granted to shareholders, related and connected parties in the form of loans and advances without due process and in breach of relevant provisions of Act 930. Altogether, shareholders, related and connected parties of Unibank had taken out an amount of 5.3 billion cedis, constituting 75% of total assets of the bank.
The financial condition of the bank thus pushed the central bank to merge it with other insolvent banks. In the end, the only option was to revoke its bank license and wind down activities of a bank through a receiver appointed by the Bank of Ghana. Governor Dr. Ernest Addison says the central bank will remain committed to ensure the relevant parties whose actions contributed to the failure of the 5 banks are held accountable through appropriate administrative, civil and criminal actions. So that was the genesis of how we arrived here, together with the 4 banks plus Unibank forming the Consolidated Bank Ghana Limited. But when you take a careful look at all the issues, one thing is clear: it has to do with poor corporate governance, and that was the reason why the Bank of Ghana came out with new directives to ensure that there is sanity within the banking system and the whole sector as a whole, as well as when it comes to the books and monies of the banks that are in the country. So quickly, let's look at one of the directives. We'll be giving you subsequent series of it, and we will be serializing it one after the other in subsequent bulletins. But talking about unwarranted loans to cronies, portions of Section 20 of the Banking Business Corporate Governance Directive 2018, where a person before assuming office as a director or key management personnel of a regulated financial institution to declare to the board of directors of that regulated financial institution and that of the Bank of Ghana the professional interests of that person or the office that the person holds as manager, director, trustee, or by any other designation. So that is one requirement from the Bank of Ghana if you are going to be a board or a director of any bank. And the person also, before assuming office as a director or key management personnel of a regulated financial institution, same, must the investment or business interest of that person in a firm, company, or institution as a significant shareholder, director, partner, proprietor, or guarantor with a view to prevent a conflict of interest with the duties or interests of that person as a director. And that is exactly an example of what we saw and happenings from Unibank. So this is one of the directives from the Bank of Ghana. I'll be seeing more of that in subsequent bulletins. But again, one issue that came up had to do with job cuts. Really, what happened within these 5 banks? Well, the TUC has been speaking, and Alfred has more.
Congress, TUC, has cautioned the Bank of Ghana not to lay off any worker after consolidating the 5 banks or risk facing the wrath of labor unions. Secretary General Dr. Yao, who spoke exclusively to our reporter Daniel Opoku, proposed that those likely to be laid off should be paid their redundancy packages fully.
The Secretary General, Dr. Yao, praised the Bank of Ghana for its promptness in consolidating the 7 banks. He said the move has continued to restore the confidence of Ghanaian workers in the banking sector. Dr. Yao advised the Bank of Ghana not to lay off any worker from the consolidated banks.
I think it's only fair that you take these measures and you don't allow innocent workers to lose because somebody higher up there might have committed some error. Our workers get up early morning, go to work, report at 8, they go back, some go back after 8 p.m. They are doing the best they can, and I don't think they should be punished for what the big people have done in these banks.
Again, the TUC has proposed to the management of BOG to investigate and prosecute managers who contributed to the collapse of the banks. The TUC boss said the prosecution will sanitize the banking sector and also protect the funds of depositors.
They must be made to answer questions, and our judicial system is capable of dealing with this. So we are comfortable with that, and we have confidence in our judicial system that they can also lay the blame where it belongs. If the top people are the ones that should blame, then they have to pay for it.
However, the Bank of Ghana has come under severe criticism for indicating that some of the banks received false license for operation. The Secretary General, Dr. Yao, has asked the Bank of Ghana to conduct internal investigations and deal with the corporates.
I am confident that even going forward, all the banks now that have not been affected are going to do what is right, because they fear the Bank of Ghana will come with its big stick on them. And that, for me, is a very good sign. And that means that we are building a financial sector to hold our development and our growth. because we are now having oil sector, which can involve big monies, insurance, big monies. Our economy is growing, now over $50 billion. So if your financial sector is weak, you're in trouble.
The Trades Union Congress has since asked the BOG to further tighten its monitoring role in streamlining operations in the banking sector.
Welcome back to News 360. On the international front this evening, Zimbabwe's opposition leader has said President Emmerson Mnangagwa's election victory is a coup against the people's will. Nelson Chamisa repeated his claim that the results announced late on Thursday night were fake and said he had won Monday's presidential poll.
The Electoral Commission said no skullduggery was involved in the vote tally. This was the first election since long-term leader Robert Mugabe was ousted. Earlier in a tweet, Mr. Mnangagwa urged Zimbabweans to unite to create a new beginning after a vote that was intended to set Zimbabwe on a new path following years of repressive rule. Addressing journalists on Friday afternoon, Mr. Chamisa called on his rival not to accept corrupted results. He added that his MDC alliance would pursue all legal and constitutional avenues to challenge the official result. The opposition leader said he had evidence that ballot boxes were being transported in open trucks, allowing them to be tampered with. He questioned the discrepancies in the numbers of votes tallied in the parliamentary elections compared with the presidential poll. Both elections took place at the same time. Mr. Chamisa also said that his election agent was not allowed to verify the results on Thursday.
You can get some more on that on our website. It's 3news.com. And next on News 360 is Entertainment with Miriam.
Hello, my name is Miriam Osei Ajman. It's time to do some entertainment. Now, 19 presenters and programs have been nominated for the upcoming Radio, Television and Personality Awards. The 8th Media Awards will see the creme de la creme of the media fraternity compete for laurels. Here are Media General's selected programs and personalities.
The RTP Award is in its 8th year. This year's nominees' announcement attracted people from various walks of the journalism and media fraternity. TV3 and 3FM's Miriam Osei Ajman got 2 nominations as Radio Female Presenter of the Year and Radio Mid-Morning Show Host of the Year category. Johnny Hughes was nominated for the Television Morning Show Host of the Year, and Bright Asempa and Johnny Hughes are also in contention for the Radio Development Show Host of the Year award. Thierry Nyan was nominated for Television Sports Host of the Year, while Winston Amwa was nominated for Best Radio Personality for the Greater Accra region. Alfredo Kanse, Television Male Newscaster of the Year. Natalie Ford for the Television Female Newscaster of the Year category. Christian Ejay Frimpong was nominated for the Radio Entertainment Talk Show Host of the Year. News 360, New Day, 3 Music are also up for awards. TV3 Television Station of the Year and Media General Group stand to win awards as well in their respective categories.
Well, definitely something to smile about. But away from that, the final funeral rites for the late High Life icon Joel Aka would take place this weekend, August 4th. The funeral, which is expected to be attended by lots of high-profile Ghanaians, would take place at Tema.
Joel Aka, who died on Friday, April 27 at 73, will be laid to rest on Saturday, August 4. The funeral will be preceded by a wake on Friday, August 3 at the Complex Park at Community 11 in Tema. The burial service and final funeral rites will also be held at the Complex Park. the body of the legend will be laid to rest in Axim, his hometown in the Western region, after the burial service. The funeral is expected to be attended by a cross-section of Ghanaians and some very big names like ex-presidents Jerry John Rawlings and John Mahama to mourn with the family and pay their last respects to the legend. Speaking on Onia FM's Inijimre with Christian, Vice President of Musica, Bessa Simmons, commended Kofi Kinata, Nero X and Samini for always showing up at the funerals of veteran musicians.
Among them two young musicians in Mabaro, Oye Kofi Kinata, Nero X. Any time at the UBC, Papa Yancy, you see the one you, Woba, what was struck with beer with the Waba, and painful wage. No, Samini is not about it. Okay, time with you, Woba, when he's away, dinner station I am inviting Chatawale, Sakotia, Stoneboy, Miss V, musicians of Wabba Kiddy, Monina, yes, Kwame yes, can promise, and Tomba, Wamba will be my into Munya Wombra.
And now we'll take a look at how our cartoonist Tilapia captured the major news items of a week from his lenses. Well, my favorite was the Jonah Bank. My name is Miriam Osei Edgeman. There's more news on 3news.com, and I'll catch you on Monday on the Urban Bloom 3 FM 92.7. Congratulations, Alfred.
Congratulations to you.
To you, Natalie, as well.
Congratulations to the groupers as 19 and more. And those who are out there who make sure we do this well. Thank you to the rest of the team. My name is Alfred Okansi.
And I'm Natalie Ford. Visit our website. It's 3news.com for some more news. Thanks so much for watching. Have a lovely evening and a great weekend.